Is the rhomboid pain in the room with us right now? Yes, it all started on a fateful lower body day. I was trying to do my set of squats and it felt like my spine was being ripped out from the bottom of my neck. I was able to thug it out and complete my sets, but when trying to do Romania deadlifts, my upper back was done. I could barely even move my torso after the warm-ups. Now I can barely tilt my neck or do anything, man. I see. What have you done to try to help this? I tried massaging it, rolling it out, and stretching the area, but none of it worked that well. Eventually, I ended up right back to where I started. I think I'm just gonna have to completely take time off from those movements that load my upper back. Don't worry, my dude. If this is you, I got you. Utilizing what I'll show you in this video, I managed to fix it and have been back to lifting completely pain-free in that area. I will show you the drill/routines, a basic interpretation of how it works, plus additional tips. So let's get into it. As a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed physical therapist. This is just what's helped me out in my experience after trying different things. The pain on my rhomboids was also towards my left side, so the routine that worked for me will primarily work for you if you have pain on the left side as well, but I will also show you some modifications you can try if you have pain towards the right side as well and see if that helps you. If they don't help, then you can also try the original drills without modification. The equipment you'll need is a flat ground, a yoga block or some object of a similar size, as well as a foam roller or some other object of a similar size, like a ball. So on all of my lifting days, post-workout, I would do 2 sets of 10 breaths for each of these drills. Sideline breathing with a right arm overhead reach. If you have pain towards the right, you would lie on the opposite side and reach your left arm forward. You want your knees tucked and bent at around a 90-degree angle with some object in between them. A foam roller works best. You also want a foam block or something under your ribs around the center of your torso. You don't want the block making contact too far forward on your ribs. You more so want to start with the block touching toward the back of your ribs, then turning over to lay flat. As you inhale, you want to lightly reach with the out arm, and your ribs shouldn't come up right away, but gradually flare up. On the exhale, you want to feel your ribs come down and your obliques engage. The second drill, hook line breathing with a right arm reach and a left arm in the front rack position. Opposite if you have pain towards the right. You want your legs up like a triangle with something in between your knees, again like a foam roller or a ball. With the bent arm, you want to drive your elbow down towards your hip and get a slight drop of the shoulder. You should feel your abs and lats engage a bit. On the exhale, you want to lightly reach your arm out to facilitate a little bit of turning of the spine. With each inhale, you want to feel your target area opening up and filling with air, so the upper back area between your spine and shoulder blade. Essentially, we're just trying to get the rib cage to expand. You should only do slow breaths that aren't too forceful, around 3 to 4 seconds each, in through your nose and out through your mouth. You want to stay mostly relaxed. That is one of the key points. Nothing is super forceful here. When I tell you to reach, it's a soft reach. You're trying not to be super tense. Getting the breaths right is tricky, so don't expect to get it right immediately. Here are some specific mistakes. 1. Moving the entire rib cage as you breathe. It can be very tempting to do a slight crunching motion on the exhale to feel your abs engage, and then slightly extend your spine on the inhale to try to feel your ribs expand. All this is doing is not allowing your rib cage to actually expand how we want it, but instead allowing other structures to interfere and orient the rib cage. So a good fix is to look to stop short rather than compromise yourself for that little extra sensation. Like if you feel you're at the end of your breath and you just can't get in more air or exhale out more air, but still don't feel the sensation you think you should, just stop. Don't try to go further. I've had this issue a lot and it's led to me messing this up by contorting my body for extra sensation that wasn't actually helping me. A deep breath and a big breath are not the same thing. We're looking for deep breaths, not the biggest breaths possible. 2. Neck or belly breathing. It can be tempting to try to breathe into these specific areas to try to get air there and treat that like expansion, like, whoa, my stomach expanding, I can feel my neck filling with air, but it's not necessarily achieving what we want. Instead, during inhalation, you want to think about breathing down from your rib cage. Think of your diaphragm dropping. During your exhalation, you want to think about your diaphragm coming up as your gut comes in from the sides and the front, feeling a 360 compression around your abdomen. Be careful though, because you don't want to tuck or suck in your belly, as that is another mistake. I hope this helps. With this, you should be spending less time injured and more time making gains. But what if you could increase the gains you make during the time you make gains? If you're not taking creatine currently, you can still make gains, duh. But you're missing out on some extra gains that you could get simply by taking some powder or a pill. Creatine boosts your performance and recovery, allowing you to train hard and recover harder. What's important is that you take it along with working hard to reap the benefits. It's not going to give you gains on its own. Personally, powder tastes like shit. it, and pills are, well, pills. What if you could instead take flavored gummies that actually taste good? Well, these creatine gummies from Tasty Gains got you. I've recently started taking them, and they've been insanely convenient. It's basically like the Flintstones multivitamin gummies we took as kids. Easy to use, huge boost in gains, and they are third-party lab tested. One of creatine's biggest issues has been quality control. So if you're in the need of a simple creatine supplement that won't give you diseases, this shit is for you. Link in the description to try out Tasty Gains. They're vegan, gluten-free, and also made in the US. If you were curious about what I tried before, I got you. Firstly, I tried just simply deloading from the movements, so I took a break from squats/deadlifts for a bit, which helped to an extent, but I just ended up back with the pain flaring up once again. Pain that comes up gradually that wasn't there before is due to overuse. However, the cause of that overuse is much more complicated and is the true root cause of your pain that needs to be addressed. Without addressing that, your pain will never be truly resolved. I also tried general stretches for the upper back, trying to stretch that area as it was evidently very tight and restricted. The next thing I looked to was improving my mobility, so strengthening my upper back and rotator cuffs, as well as using mobility drills to try to improve my thoracic spine mobility. Things like quadruped spine rotations, as well as wall rotations. It was true I had fairly restricted mobility in those areas, but as those areas improved in strength, and even as I got slightly more range of motion, it didn't seem to do all that much when going back to trying squats and deadlifts. I have heard of breathwork drills to promote ribcage expansion before, and I also did try some other drills. However, those were done with poor breath technique and didn't work out too well either. This is why I highly emphasize the importance of getting your breath technique down right. Then finally, I tried the drills I first showed you with better breath technique. Within a matter of days following this, my pain completely subsided. There was no immediate relief, however. My pain just gradually lessened as I continued waking up the following days. So why is fancy breathing drills and expanding the rib cage what helped me alleviate so much horrific upper back pain? Here is my understanding. Next up. Note that any movements you will see in editing are greatly exaggerated just to show what's going on. Basically, your skeleton always has areas more compressed than others. When your skeleton is under compression, it literally means it's being squished in a certain area. This also results in the opposite side being more expanded. Expansion in this case is the opposite of compression. To envision it better, you can think of squishing a balloon. When one end gets squished, the other end expands. We all have more areas that are generally more compressed than others due to how our bodies were built. The way we lift can also result in further compression, which can result in maladaptation, such as a rib cage being compressed front to back. Our individual structural imbalances also play a role in this. It's why you may have stronger/weaker sides during certain exercises. It's not exactly just one muscle being bigger than the other, it could literally just be one muscle is put into a worse position of leverage than the other. We usually want to minimize the compressive forces on our rib cage, but that's not always possible. So following lifting up with breath work that will promote expansion will also be a really good idea, and it's what I do. Why is further compression considered a maladaptation? Usually, compression will limit movement options, resulting in your body overloading specific muscles, tendons, and connective tissue. This is what was happening to me. My ribs were compressed in the left upper back area, so first of all, that area was not able to properly expand when taking breaths, and my shoulder blade was not able to glide properly. So when loaded over and over, it eventually caused a lot of pain. So how do breathing drills help? They allow you to get air into those areas, promoting expansion, getting you further out of that compressed state. This is what makes sense to me anyways, and the drills worked, so I hope they help you out too. Where did I find this stuff out, you ask? Next up. I just wanted to shout out some cool dudes who have helped me a lot in improving my understanding of movement and rehab. First up, we have the GOAT, Jonathan Warren. He's helped me a lot in feeling my chest, lats, and shoulders working and improving this upper back pain. We also have Connor Harris, another great resource who also consistently uploads highly informative shorts. Next up is Chaplin Performance, with great videos that have helped me learn proper cues for breath work. Lastly is Alexander Bromley, who is the strongest lifter of these guys and the one who initially sparked my curiosity to improving the way I lift, with a series on proper breathing/bracing during heavy lifting. Hope you found this helpful. If you liked what you saw here and you want a fellow gym bro to help you out, keep you accountable, and walk you through lifting so you have no choice but to not give up, we can have a chat, man, with the first link in the description. If you like this video and want to optimize your lifting to reduce injury and get more tension to the targeted muscle, I got you with this video right here.